Alright, what is up, guys? We are back with Attack on Titan, chapter 107. Yeah, Visitor. So there was a lot last chapter. Still, the thing that I can't stop thinking about is that Annie little scene that we got with Armin. Um, I hope within these next batch of chapters that we get something on Annie, but I'm very doubtful. Um, but who knows, man. All right, so let's go. So Hanji's visiting Eren in his cell. What are you doing? Were you talking to that mirror? Hey. So was she was she there the whole time listening to Eren when he was talking to himself? Um, when he was saying, last chapter ended off with him. I think it was something along the lines of if we fight then we live, right, and then fight twice. Um, was she there the whole time while he was talking to himself? You were just talking to your reflection in that mirror, weren't you? Okay, so yeah. You told yourself to fight, right? You said fight. You said to fight twice. Fight what? If you said to fight twice, does that mean it's a two-round fight? I'll never get it if you don't speak up. I don't think it's normal for people to talk with no one else there. At least I've never struck up a conversation with my reflection. Anyway, I think that hairstyle looks good on you. It's messed up like you're trying to say that you're working too hard to bother fussing over it. What are you doing here? What do you mean? I'm here to talk. We spent all night talking about Titans the first time we met, didn't we? You listened to me. Talk on and on. I always knew that you wouldn't sacrifice Astoria. Hmm. I wonder why he's bringing up Historia in this. 2 years ago, the day of the welcome ceremony in the harbor. Okay. I haven't seen you since you lifted our entire ship. I look forward to working with you. No, he'll never come in contact with any of you again. This brief meeting is as far as we will go. That's plenty. That makes today an auspicious day. After all, the port is complete. Oh wow, look at that! And they even have like a little it's like a port town as well. Wow, that's really cool. Um, and we are welcoming our first foreign visitors. Huh. Interesting. I wonder who they're bringing onto the island. From the one nation in the world friendly to paradise, Hizuru. Their ambassador on this trip is Kiyomi Azumabito. She has significant influence over Hizuru's foreign affairs, which she uses to maintain strong historical ties with other nations. She's the head of her clan. She's. Does her face resemble your mother's? It's just like I told you. You two are blood relatives. Wow, you see Levi in the back there. Do you recognize this family crest? Interesting. This is actually really fascinating that we're getting like a little bit more on, um, Mikasa's clan, right? Her family. That's Shower Mikasa. But mom said to keep this a secret. Huh? You showed it to me as a kid, don't you, didn't you? Didn't you? This is probably the day she was waiting for. Go on. Before she died, my mother gave me this mark. Oh, interesting. I wonder, cause I'm curious if if I actually go back chapters, if she's ever had that bandage around her arm. You would think that Isayama has had that consistency with her character, but I don't know if I've ever seen, um at least in the anime, right? I don't think I've ever seen Mikasa show that mark. I don't think, but I don't know. I could probably not. It probably did happen in the anime, and I'm just like forgetting it. Um, anyway, before she died, my mother gave me this mark. She had it too, and she asked me to pass it on to my own children. What? What a noble act. About 100 years ago, Hizuru's shogun was an ally of the Eldian Empire. We in the Azumabito family trace our lineage back to his son, who was on good terms with the Fritz royal family and visited here. Huh. So that's nice to see a little bit of explanation of why um, the um, the Azumabito family sees themselves as allies to the Paradise Island group, to the aliens, because like their family has been on good terms with the Fritz for generations, right? Um, okay. After our defeat in the Great Titan War, Hizuru lost standing in the world. Then, though, I'm unsure of how it happened. Amidst all the confusion, the heir left a child behind on this island. To think 100 years hence that I am finally meeting you, the one person with Eastern blood on this island. You are the descendant of our nation's lost lord. You are Hizuru's hope. Interesting. Um, if what Azuma Bito said is true, that makes you pretty powerful in Hizuru, right? Don't ask me. You're the last survivor of this nation's top family, right? I still don't get what a nation is. If it means we can exploit Hizuru, we've got to use this. Wait, what? What if this is a trap? I really think we should ask Yelena. No, that would be exactly what our enemies want. We are sure of one thing. In this world connected by the seas, we are but a little tottering child. Let's stray quiet and just listen for now. Come. We embarrass ourselves with making our guest wait. I do like the idea of all of them just like going off to like a separate room and just like freaking out over like all this information. Um, but man, dude, this is really fascinating. That okay, so Mikasa is the heir to the Lost Lord of Hizuru, right? Um, no. So the heir left a child behind on this island. All right, so the heir of wait a second. I'm guessing the Lord who was the Lord of Hizuru at the time of the Great Titan War, he had an heir, and that heir had a child that child was sent to Paradise Island, and that child is Mikasa. I think I got that lineage right. I think. You can clear that up for me in the comments below if I got something wrong, but okay, interesting. Um, all right. Hey, why'd you only show Eren that mark? I mean, you never showed that bandage around your wrist to anyone. You seem happy. That's because I am. You've also had to shoulder a heavy burden because of your birth. I couldn't ask for a more perfect match than you, Mikasa. Simply seeing that you are alive and healthy is enough to fill me with gratitude, but going forward, please know this. The Azuma B2 will always be waiting for you. Yes, ma'am. This is a historic day for both our nations, and this day never would have come if not for the man who brought us together. We heard about the descendant of our Shogun clan on Paradis, and met in secret with the source of that information, Zeke Yeager. This is insane. Just like, like Zeke really does feel like the puppet master in all this, right? Like he's just really been like, God, what's the term? Just like pulling the strings, right? For everything, like just like setting everything up, really. Like, and this dates back to like years and years and years. Probably since when he was a kid is really when all this started, rolling into motion, man. It's pretty insane. Um, you should know that he asked us to agree to certain conditions before he would introduce us to you. My mother was a surviving member of the Fritz royal family. In other words, there's royal blood in me as well. Throughout the time I was captain of the warriors, I hid this fact from the Marleyan army. Why would you, if you were loyal to Marley? because since I was a child, my true loyalty has been to my father's dream. I am the true Eldian restorationist. But yes, I sold out my mother and father to Marley. Though I was only 7, I realized quickly that the Marleyan authorities were closing in on the restorationists and their leader, my father. I was certain that if I did nothing, my entire family would be sent to heaven, my parents and my grandparents and myself with them. That is why I took the actions you allude to. My parents were right, but they were naive. Wow. Like, I don't know what I was doing when I was 7 years old, but it was nowhere near to to have that kind of foresight at that age is absolutely ridiculous, man. Um, him realizing that, hey, if I just stand idly by, I'm gonna be taken in with everybody else as well. So if I do, and it's such a messed up thing, right? If I give up my parents, um, that will at least give me hope, like an opportunity to make a move later on in the future, right? Which I mean, he did it all for the cause, right? For the restoration of the Eldians. But man, like that's such a cost to give up your parents, in the process of doing that, man. And to make that decision at 7 years old, man, it's just like, God, man, I just can't fathom it. Um. Anyway, let's go. I realized that the restoration of the glorious Eldian Empire would never be achieved by their band of complacent jokesters. Um, I left my parents and rose through the ranks of Marley's army. I laid waste to the island I was meant to save and continued to slaughter the Eldians. Wow. I did it because I knew Marley's plan to retake the founding Titan would mean the restoration of Eldia. Um, because Marley never knew I had royal blood in my veins. I mean to say, Marley has no idea what will happen when a Titan of royal blood comes in contact with the founding Titan, and I know that, even now, your homeland. As you have surmised, I am indeed here to seek the heir to our Shogun's clan. Yet, if the restoration of the Eldian Empire put the world in danger, we can never stand by and watch. I may one day be compelled to confess the details of this meeting to Marley. I regret the result would likely be the same were we friends of Paradis to be wiped out. Now, of course, understand that, Lady Kiyomi, I would not bring this proposal to you if it did not benefit the nation of Hizuru as well as your family. Interesting. Okay. First, please take a look at this. Let me see. How did you... This was a top secret Marleyan project, yet you already knew? This vertical maneuvering equipment is a Titan-killing weapon developed on Paradis. Don't worry, I did not take this piece out of Marleyan custody. I procured this on my own. Consider it a gift. But know that you'll need a special kind of fuel in order to make this weapon work. They called it Iceburst Stone. I wonder what would she want with that? Um, Very little is known about it since it has only been mined on Paradis. There have long been whispers about it. They say that the King of the Titans dug gigantic holes on Paradis and stockpiled treasures created by the power of the Titans, burning stones and glowing stones. While they must be small, there are surely traces of the Iceburst Stone within that weapon. Um, all right. Well, obviously, she would probably find some interest in this because it is a Titan killing weapon. So okay, that does make sense. Um, if I'm not mistaken, that's the same kind of stone that we saw in the Uprising arc, right? Where Eren was chained up. Um, so it's really fascinating that we're seeing this come up again. Anyway, while they must be small, there are surely traces of the Iceburst Stone within that weapon. I doubt that the people of Paradise have any idea of the true value of this resource, but your nation does. This information should the Hizuru and Paradise together. Hmm. We help Zeke with his plan to return to the island, and we gain an industry strong enough to return our nation to its former glory. That was his proposal. Of course, he hasn't even surveyed the reserves. However, if he speaks truth, this power that sleeps on your island could change our world. Oh, I should reassure you that this has nothing to do with our conglomerate's recent expansion plans. Miss Kiyomi, please. She's like slobbering? Like what? Or drooling? My goodness, how unseemly of me. Um, so was I just an excuse? Look at Mikasa's face. Yelena did say the negotiations would go well because the Azumabitos are money grubbers. I suppose no one would risk coming to this island if not to make money after all. So what were the details of this arrangement you made with Zeke Yeager? As you know, Zeke claims to have a secret plan. This plan is supposed to save Eldia and the world, but it requires Hizuru's mediation. It's one of three ingredients needed for the earth shaking to protect Paradis. The first is a test of this earth shaking weapon. You must show the world its destructive potential by at least unleashing it in part. Next is Hizuru's mediation. Our goal will be to raise the military strength of this nation so that you will not have to rely solely on shaking the earth. So that kind of begs the question: is how big is their forces currently, right? Um, like have they really been able to recover since that Great Titan War that happened so long ago, or have they just been like permanently kind of been weakened because of that ever since that war? Um, and we do see how excited she gets at the prospect of expanding the territory and getting bigger. Um, kind of fortifying her own industries and whatnot. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It does seem like I don't know, like her nation does need to grow for sure. Um, so our goal will be to raise the military strength of this nation. Introducing the latest weapons to this island is not a difficult process in itself. However, establishing a modern army requires creating a firm base of national power, education, economy, diplomacy, and population. Hmm. Oh, is she talking about? So our goal will be to raise the military strength of this nation so that you will not have to rely solely on shaking the earth. Okay, so she's talking about Paradis. It would make a lot more sense if she is referring to the Eldians because they do have like in terms of resources, in terms of like their military might is so much smaller compared to especially the Marlians, right? We don't necessarily know um what Hizuru has in terms of military might. Um, but yeah, okay. So she's definitely referring to the aliens then in terms of their um, military strength. Um, okay, and yeah, and then she's talking about introducing weapons, education, diplomacy, economy, population, a modern army. Interesting. All right. You are 100 years behind the rest of the rest of the world. It's gonna take 100 years to do this. Are you kidding me? You won't need the full 100 years to catch up, but it will surely take at least 50. Yeah, and that's better. um, in other words, you must use the earth shaking to protect this island for 50 years. You must always possess the founding titan and a titan of royal blood. This is the third element. Zeke will pass down the beast titan to one with royal blood. Huh. And that person must spend the 13 years they have left bearing as many children as possible. Oh, poor Krista. No. Look at Eren's reaction, too.